Hi, everyone. This is Anne Marie from Living Love Consciously. How are you? I hope you're doing really well. So, what are we going to talk about? Every time I get on here, I'm always like, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about? I have no idea. But let's just see how the conversation develops. So, as usual, we talk about being a kind human, just being a decent human on this channel, and the challenges that face us every day, and also the happiness that comes into our lives every day, for hopefully every day, right? And for me, it's been a tough week. I'm kind of burned out from work and life in general, because I've been kind of getting over something, like since Halloween. I've been getting over some kind of weird cold, and as soon as I get better, I get another one. So that's been kind of challenging my energy foundation, and not sleeping is also challenging my energy foundation, and just being a parent is challenging my energy foundation, and just work overall. But otherwise, I am still okay. I'm okay. Like, if somebody asks me, I can say I'm okay. How are you doing? How's life going for you? What challenges are you facing right now that may be causing some turbulence in your life? What happiness is coming into your life that you can share? Put it in the comments. But I'm still trying to figure out what to talk about. But I mean, let's talk about the good old thing, being kind, being a good human. So I try, but I'm not always successful at it. Like the other day, it was super cold, and this woman was asking for money, and I did not give her money, because I have given her money in the past, and it was just like, I was like, because it was so cold, that's why I felt so bad about it. But I have given in the past, and the question becomes, do you give every time? Do you help every time, even when you don't have it to help, if that makes sense? And so I kind of thought about that when I got home, and I hope she was okay, and I think she ended up okay, because I've seen her for a very long time, and she always, like, okay, given the circumstances. Like, there are people that I saw for a long time and I don't see them anymore. Like, there was this young African-American guy. He used to be on the subway, and I believe he was an alcoholic. Like, he abused alcohol. I could sense it on him, he was like very he wasn't violent or anything. He was very like laid back, and I would always try to acknowledge him, which is like, there's a double-edged sword with acknowledging homeless people, because you don't know if they're going to be violent or not. But I don't want them to be the unseen members of society. I try to like energetically and physically say, I see you, and I'm not judging you. I'm not like belittling the fact that you're homeless, because it can happen to anyone. I think, given the circumstances and the mindset, what you're dealing with regards to your mind and your situation, even physical too. So I don't like look down. I try not to. Maybe I have looked down on people, but I try not to look down on people who are homeless. So I would always try to acknowledge him when I saw him, like smile, say hi. If I had something, I would give it to him. But I felt bad giving him money, because like I knew he was going to spend it on alcohol, but then that was me judging him. So I tried not to think about it. But I haven't seen him in a really long time. So I think he might have passed to the other side, or he got some help and he's sober and living his best life. But even if he passed, he's probably living his best life, right? Because I tend to be one of those people who watches near-death experience videos, and people who experience near-death always say it's always better on the other side. They didn't want to come back to Earth. So that gives me solace that he's at a better place if he did pass. But I'm bringing him up now because one time I looked at him and I smiled at him, and he replied to me, "Do you know me?" And that broke my heart. That broke my heart. And I did not know how to help him. And I was like, "No, I'm sorry, I don't know you." And I kind of like scurried away because I was taken aback because we never talked. It was like, I always smiled at him and he kind of looked past me. And sometimes he would acknowledge me, but most of the time he would like look past me because he was inebriated, right? And he was a nice drunk. He wasn't like a violent drunk, which was great. I think I mentioned that already. And so I always tried to acknowledge him. And like I said, he said to me, "Do you know me?" And I could sense the sincerity. I can sense the desperation he had for somebody to be looking for him, for somebody to find him. And that broke my heart because how many people are on the streets who have nobody that's looking for them? No one's looking for them. No one cares about them. And who knows, like, if he experienced some kind of trauma that made him drink, or if whatever the situation is, there was a loss of memory, it seemed like, because he didn't know who he was. And so whether that was caused by the alcohol or some other trauma, he didn't know who he was. And that's a very sad situation to be in. I would say that I would put him in his like mid-20s. He was a young man. And yeah, it was an extremely sad situation. And when somebody says that, it's like, wow. And not even speaking about people who are homeless, but think about people every day who are not in that situation where drugs have inhibited their memories for some reason. Drugs or alcohol have like ruined their memories or inhibited their memories, their recall. But everyday people who no longer know who they are because they've been wearing so many personas. Like they've lost themselves. They become an actor and they no longer are playing the role and being able to go back to who they are, but they constantly keep just taking on the role and making it part of their personality, that they've forgotten who they are. And in some ways, that could be an analogy of us human beings being here, right? We come here and people say we have like reincarnation cycles. I don't know. Some people deny it, but let's say we do. Like there's a veil of forgetfulness. Like we forget. And is it in our best interest to forget? I don't know. But you could make the analysis that we take every role we take on, we forget just a little bit more and more if we are not tethered to something that keeps us connected to God. And I think in this lifetime, that's Jesus for us. Like believing in Jesus, having a relationship with Jesus keeps us tethered to God so we don't forget who we are. And my explanation of who we are, we're supposed to be people that help each other. We're supposed to be kind to each other. We're supposed to be patient with each other. We're supposed to be helpful, decent human beings to each other. But we get here and we take on the personas of villain, of light worker, and we create these dualities. But at the end of the day, we're all children of God. We're all coming from God consciousness. We're all these beings that God has proliferated in the universe, right? And I like to use you as an example. Like you were one single cell organism, right? And that single cell organism proliferated. Your mom and dad came together and created one single cell organism, right? And that proliferated into your bones, your skin, your eyes, your cartilage, your tendons, your muscles, your heart, your liver, your kidney, your stomach, your colon, all this that makes you. And your cells also take on a persona. Like they forgot they were, I forgot what they call them, cells when they are like, there's a word, but I've forgotten. They've forgotten that they were a single-celled organism, and now they've taken on the persona of liver, of heart cell, of bone cell, of marrow cell, of tissue cell. You see, it's just like all like this Russian doll of us just, like stacking, and you open it up and there's just more and more and more and more, and at the end it's just like one doll. It's funny. So I think it's heartbroken when like alcohol and substance abuse takes your memory away. But I think it's even more heartbroken when it's due to you deciding not to be human. And I don't know if it's a conscious decision not to be human, or you deciding to play a role of who you think you should be. And so we lose the main concept, the whole Russian doll. And we just think we're like the different layers within the Russian doll. Does that make sense? I don't know. But I hope it makes sense to you. So I guess the end to this message is, don't forget who you are. I don't care what religion, what your belief systems are, but don't forget who you are. We're all from that one cell organism. We've proliferated, expanded, diverged into these different personalities, personas, ideas. But that's not who we are. We are this whole being that is experiencing each other. And like our body, when we fight, when your body fights within itself, it gets sick, right? It gets sick. So, but when your body is in harmony, it's in equilibrium, then it lives well, it's happy, it's content. It produces the necessary things that you need to survive, to grow, to thrive. And so the lesson of the day is, try not to identify as the roles you're playing here, and try to remember who you are. And I've heard in the past that the veil of forgetfulness is there for a reason. And I don't know if that's true. Like, I would not want my son to forget me because I love him. And I think I'm a good mom, so I would not want him to forget me. So that's my reasoning for why the veil of forgetness is maybe not a natural thing. It's something that just happens because we get so deep into our characters that the tether becomes like longer or even weaker to God. Like if the tether is too short, I think also you might have a challenging experience, because then you're not tethered to the earth, you're not tethered to the ground. So you're always kind of like in la la land, and that may cause like some type of like schizophrenia, some kind of like mental exhaustion, not knowing your reality or not understanding your reality. So I'm going on another tangent, but so it's important to just have that tether be just right, so you can have this human experience, but also not forget that you are more than this experience. And in that, you treat your brethren with kindness, with love, with support whenever you can. And you will stumble, and there are times where you may not do it, and that's okay. The point is, you always try to remember, and you always just try your best to be a decent human. All right, I won't take any more of your time. Let me know in your comments what you think of this discussion or this moment, and how you work at being a kind human being, patient and loving towards your fellow brothers and sisters. All right, I'll talk to you later. Have a great week. And until next time, bye.